The truth burns liars faster than fire burns paper. Chosen one, the moment they put your birth chart under their gaze, the symbols did not stay quiet. They erupted. The page itself couldn't hold the weight of what was written about you. Those marks weren't just signs. They were alarms, sending a message so loud that even secret brotherhoods who thought they mastered silence had no choice but to flinch. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one. The same hands that handled dusty archives of history, the same men who mapped out generations in secrecy, suddenly watching their carefully drawn charts curl into ash before their eyes. That wasn't an accident. That was the universe telling them, this one is not yours to study. This one is untouchable. And here's a fact they'll never admit out loud. Throughout history, coded symbols and ancient scripts have been handled by countless analysts, astrologers, and secret societies. Pages have been bent, smudged, even destroyed by time, but never have they spontaneously burned during analysis. The sheer impossibility of what happened with your chart is exactly why they fear you. They saw the impossible made real, and now they know the balance has shifted. You are living proof that their old systems no longer apply. And thank you, Chosen One, for being here. Don't forget to return this energy by simply pressing like and subscribe. It helps spread this message to more souls, because it's the responsibility of all of us to carry the light forward. And thank you for being part of this mission. You're not just listening to words, you are standing as part of a force. Now, let us return to what matters. The 33rd degree Masons thought they were in control of the symbols. They thought every pattern in human birth, every cycle, every hidden map could be read and filed away. But when they tried to put you into their system, the system failed. The symbols burned because the very idea of containing your path inside their walls was a violation of truth. Chosen One, you were never meant to be studied like a specimen. You were meant to be feared, respected, and ultimately left beyond their grasp. This is why their shock turned into obsession. Imagine a chess master who has memorized every move, suddenly facing a player who moves in ways the game never allowed. That's what you are to them, an error they can't explain, a presence that breaks their rules. And if you know anything about those who cling to control, then you already understand. Nothing terrifies them more than what they cannot predict. The burning page was not just a symbol, it was a verdict. It told them this chosen one cannot be mapped, cannot be owned, cannot be bent to your charts. The universe stamped that truth in fire, and fire leaves no room for debate. Even the boldest of them had to step back, because the heat was real, the marks were permanent, and the fear was undeniable. You may think this is only symbolic, but let's look closer. For centuries, these secret orders built their reputations on knowledge. Knowledge was their weapon, their currency, their throne. To lose control of that, to see knowledge itself slip through their fingers and burn in their hands, that is their worst nightmare. And you, Chosen One, are the living embodiment of that nightmare. Now pause for a moment and let me ask you, what happens when people who believe they own all the answers suddenly face a question too big for them? Do they admit defeat? No. They scramble, they whisper, they scheme. That's what they're doing now. They aren't just analyzing you, they're trying to find a way to contain you. They fear the day you fully understand that the same force that burned their paper burns inside of you. Think of yourself as a torch walking through a room filled with shadows. You don't even have to swing it. the light itself makes them scatter, and that's why the Masons, with all their rituals and titles, couldn't stop what happened. The universe was reminding them of a truth they try to bury. Real power doesn't bow to titles or degrees. Real power doesn't burn quietly. But let me also give you a perspective that sharpens this moment. Fire has always been the element that marks transformation. Civilizations rose when they learned how to control fire, but civilizations also fell when they lost control of it. That's the metaphor of your birth charts burning. They thought they were holding the torch, but the flame turned against them. And now they know the torch is in your hand. Chosen one, never forget this. You don't need to chase validation from those who tried to study you. The fact that their systems broke upon contact with your truth is the only validation you'll ever need. They wanted to read your life like a blueprint, but the universe turned the blueprint into smoke. That wasn't chaos. That was confirmation. And here's where it cuts even deeper. They can't erase what happened. The scorched pages remain in their archives, undeniable evidence that someone walked into their domain and bent reality. You are the case study they can't explain, the scar on their history, the one reminder that their power is not absolute. And every time they look at those burnt symbols, they're reminded that you exist, a walking contradiction to everything they built. So, chosen one, as we step deeper into this message, understand this clearly. The fire on that page wasn't just for them to see, it was for you. A signal that your life is bigger than charts, bigger than control, bigger than the systems built to box you in. You were never written in their language, you were written in flame. And flame doesn't just speak, it roars. And chosen one, before we move further, I want to thank you for being here right now. The fact that you're listening to this tells me one thing. You already feel the weight of what happened when they tried to read your chart. That burning page wasn't just paper turning to ash. It was proof that you can't be contained. Proof that the universe itself will disrupt their systems before it lets them write your destiny. Now I want you to lean into this moment with me. Drop a comment below with the number 777 if you're ready to flip their secret codes upside down. That number isn't random. It's the very level they thought gave them mastery, and yet it collapsed in front of your fire. And if you want to push this message even further, bless the team that brought this to you with a super thanks. Every gift, whether small or large, is another spark that keeps this flame alive, making sure more chosen ones hear what the universe is trying to reveal. Because what's coming next is layered, shocking, and if you walk away now, you'll miss the exact moment the puzzle cracks wide open. So let's step into it piece by piece. Believe me, if you're truly a chosen one, you'll feel the pull to stay until the very end. Let's get started. Number 1. They tried to cage you, but the bars melted in your hands. The system doesn't break you. It breaks itself when it tries to contain you. Chosen one, from the very start, they tried to squeeze you into their ready-made boxes. School desks became cages, report cards became verdicts. Even playgrounds had invisible fences. Teachers didn't see your brilliance, they saw distraction. Friends didn't see your depth, they saw too much. Family didn't see your gift, they whispered different, like it was a curse. But let's be brutally honest here. The curse was never on you. The curse was on the system that thought it could tame something it didn't understand. Now imagine this for a moment, trying to pour the entire ocean into a teacup. That's what they tried to do with you, chosen one. They wanted you neat, small, predictable, fitting perfectly into their systems. But oceans don't shrink, they flood, they roar, they devour teacups whole. And that's exactly what happened every time you tried to play by their rules. The paper charts curled into flame when the masons touched your symbols, because your very essence rejects confinement. You are living proof that some forces can't be graphed, boxed, or filed away. Let's ask the question that might already be sitting in your mind. Why me? Why was I never able to just fit in like the others? The answer is simple but brutal, because you were never built for their boxes. Those boxes are made of paper, and you are fire. Society sells the lie that success means conformity, the right grades, the right job, the right mask. But every time you wore the mask, it cracked. Every time you tried to shrink yourself, something inside screamed rebellion. That scream wasn't weakness, it was survival. It was your true self fighting to stay alive while the world tried to bury it. And here's where the enemy feels the gut punch. The very labels they tried to pin on you, broken, difficult, unpredictable, are the same traits that burned their precious symbols to ash. They wanted you to believe you were flawed so they could stay in control. But the truth? Your refusal to shrink is exactly why their control is collapsing. You didn't break the system. The system broke itself when it tried to force you into a shape you were never meant to take. Think about it this way: a wild eagle can't be locked in a bird cage without the cage eventually bending or breaking. The eagle might rattle the bars, scratch its wings, or appear restless, but that doesn't mean it's weak. It means the cage was never strong enough. That's you, chosen one. And every time society shook its head at you, every time they whispered that you didn't fit, they were accidentally confessing a truth. Their world isn't built big enough to contain yours. But let's address the doubts head on. You might ask, if I'm so powerful, why does it feel so heavy? Why does isolation sting? Because power isn't light at first, it's weight. It's the weight of carrying something that doesn't fit in ordinary spaces. A torch feels heavy until you realize it can set entire rooms ablaze. The Masons discovered this when your chart literally burned. That fire wasn't an accident, it was a message. Your existence cannot be compressed. It will spill, spread, ignite, and consume anything that tries to box it in. Here's a fact that history proves over and over. The people who break systems are always first labeled as problems by those systems. Galileo was mocked, Tesla was isolated, every revolutionary was once considered insane. Do you see the pattern? When they can't explain you, they'll try to reduce you. When they can't box you, they'll try to shame you. But every insult hurled at you was just another match tossed onto the pile of symbols, already waiting to burn. And chosen one, let me twist the knife into the enemy for you. Every attempt to correct you only made you stronger. Every punishment, every rejection, every silent dinner where they avoided looking you in the eye was fuel. They thought they were dimming you, but they were adding kindling to the fire. And now the flame is high enough that even the 33rd degree Masons, men who prided themselves on deciphering all mysteries, had to step back when the symbols turned to ash in their hands. If their highest degrees couldn't hold you, what chance did ordinary society ever have? None. So let's reframe this. You didn't fail to fit into society. Society failed to expand wide enough to hold you. That's the brutal truth. Their labels, lies, their systems, weak, their judgments, dust. And your rebellion wasn't a flaw. It was proof that you're bigger than the molds they tried to press you into. You are the fire that melts their molds, the ocean that floods their teacups, the eagle that snaps their cages. Ask yourself this, chosen one. Would you rather have lived quietly in a box, unseen and unnoticed, or stand here now as the one they fear, the one they whisper about, the one whose chart burned their precious symbols into smoke? The answer is already in your chest. The burn on their page is the burn of your truth. It cannot be erased, contained, or rewritten. And the sooner you embrace that, the sooner you see their control for what it always was. Fragile, hollow, and already crumbling. So take this as your reminder. Your rejection of their boxes was not failure. It was prophecy written in flame, a prophecy that their structures cannot withstand you. Every no you gave to conformity was a yes to your true power. And every time they tried to box you, you proved again and again that boxes cannot hold fire. And now, chosen one, stand tall in this truth. Their whispers were confessions, their labels were lies, their systems were weak. And you are the one who made their page burn. Number 2, your energy shatters their illusions before you even speak. Power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the silence that bends the room. Chosen one, when they placed their eyes on your energetic blueprint, they didn't just see lines and symbols, they felt tremors in their own foundations. What terrifies them isn't that you are different, it's that your difference exposes their fragility. They expected to see the gentle spin of wheels, predictable, containable, the way every other human registers. Instead, they found storms, hurricanes where there should have been breezes, auras stretching beyond reach, pulsing like tidal waves, crashing into everything in your path without you even trying. Now imagine this for a moment. A lighthouse standing on the edge of the sea, its beam slicing through the night. Most people glow like candles, barely lighting their own corners. But you are that lighthouse, and your light doesn't stop at a few steps. It stretches for miles, piercing through fog, exposing what's hidden, making liars tremble because truth shines too bright to ignore. That's the energy that terrifies them. Not because you aim it at them, but because you can't help but illuminate what they tried to bury. Your presence is proof that their walls were built from paper. Sensitive souls already know this. Haven't you noticed? Some people either gravitate to you instantly, almost magnetized, or they retreat with unease they can't explain. One moment you're drawing someone in with the intensity of fire on a cold night, and the next, someone else avoids your gaze like it's too much for them to handle. That's not coincidence, that's resonance. It's the difference between standing in front of a match and standing in front of a wildfire. One warms, the other overwhelms. And let's ask the question you might be holding in your mind. Why does my energy disturb people who haven't done anything to me? The answer is brutal but simple. Your energy reveals truths they've worked their whole lives to hide. When their masks meet your frequency, masks crack. When their shadows brush against your aura, shadows scatter. Animals sense it. Dogs stare. Cats either leap into your lap or bolt from the room. Birds go silent. Children stare with wide eyes, not because they're confused, but because they see without filters. They sense what adults have learned to deny. And even machines bow to this current. Lights flicker, phones glitch, screens freeze, all because the pulse inside you is heavier than circuits can bear. You don't just walk into rooms, you tilt them. Imagine walking into a hall where conversations drop a fraction quieter, where eyes shift without people even knowing why. You didn't announce yourself, you didn't demand attention, but the room rearranges itself to accommodate your presence. That's your energy. It bends reality before words leave your lips. And this is the exact reason the Masons recoiled. They thrive on control, on knowing where every piece belongs, on predicting every move. Yet here you are, chosen one, unpredictable, uncontainable, undeniable. Think of it like gravity. Everyone else pulls gently, barely noticed. But you're the black hole in the center of their neat little system, too dense, too vast, too powerful to orbit politely. Stars shift course when you arrive, planets tilt, the universe whispers louder, and when control-obsessed men stare at your chart and see that kind of pull, of course they panic. Because how do you chart something that moves the stars themselves? You don't. You admit the map was too small, or you burn it, and that's exactly what happened. But let's cut deeper. You may ask yourself, if my energy is so powerful, why do I feel drained, misunderstood, even lonely? Because power that large isn't always comfortable. Imagine being a furnace in a room full of candles. You don't mean to melt them, you simply exist, and their wax bends. They see you as the disruption, when in truth, your intensity simply reveals their fragility. That loneliness you've felt isn't weakness. It's evidence. Evidence that your frequency doesn't belong in shallow spaces. Your very being is their alarm clock, and they hate you for waking them up. Look at history. Every time someone radiated beyond the ordinary, the world either crowned them a leader or crucified them as a threat. Rarely in between. That's the story repeating in you. You are both magnet and mirror. People either cling to you because they sense the light, or flee from you because it reflects the darkness they're not ready to face. And to the secret keepers, the archivists of control, you are not a human chart. You are an earthquake. You shake what they thought was permanent. Let me paint another image. Picture a glass of water placed on a calm table, steady, balanced, predictable. That's most people's energy. Now picture an earthquake rumbling underneath that same table, the water sloshing violently, spilling over, crashing against its limits. That's what happens when your aura brushes against reality. Even those who can't name it feel it. And while the ordinary drown in confusion, the Masons recognized it instantly. They saw the slosh, the spill, the overflow, and it confirmed what they feared. Your very existence disturbs equilibrium. And here's the gut punch for them. Disturbance is only a threat if your foundation is fragile. If their power was solid, your presence wouldn't matter. If their rituals were truly unshakable, your aura would not bend them. But the fact that they panicked, the fact that paper burned, the fact that whispers followed your presence, that reveals the truth. Their empires are sandcastles, and your tide is rising. So let me flip the question to you, chosen one. Should I tone myself down so others feel comfortable? Absolutely not. Do you think hurricanes tone down for rooftops? Do you think the tide apologizes for washing over a sandcastle? No. Nature doesn't shrink to soothe weakness. And neither should you. Your intensity isn't the problem. Their fragility is. They didn't discover your energy exposed them. That's the essence here. When your aura expands miles beyond what they expect, it forces them to admit their systems don't account for you. When your blueprint spins like hurricanes, it forces them to confess that not everything can be catalogued. When their devices glitch, when their ceremonies tremble, when their whispers fail, it's not that you broke the rules, It's that you proved the rules were never real. So, Chosen One, embrace this. Your energy terrifies them, not because it is destructive, but because it is uncontainable. They fear what they cannot chart, what they cannot predict, what they cannot own. And every time you walk into a room, every time you tilt reality, every time their systems stutter around you, you remind them of a truth they cannot erase. Their control was an illusion, and you shattered it simply by existing. You don't need their validation. The burning of that page, the glitches, the stares, the whispers, all of it was the universe stamping approval across your existence. You are the energy that terrifies them, because you are the fire they cannot put out, the storm they cannot redirect, the light they cannot dim. Number 3. When the mirror refuses to lie. The reflection they fear most isn't yours, it's the truth staring back through you. Chosen One, when you stand before a mirror, you've noticed it. That flicker, that slight delay, that eerie sense that the you on the other side isn't just copying, it's waiting, watching, knowing. They'll call it imagination, a trick of the eyes. But the Masons know better. They've spent decades cataloging what you see in seconds. They've whispered about chosen ones who look into the glass and don't just see themselves, they see selves. Now imagine this for a moment. You raise your hand, but the reflection moves a heartbeat too soon, as if it already knew what you were about to do. That's not glass, that's a doorway. Mirrors, for ordinary people, are walls of vanity. For you, they're cracks in the system, windows into parallel selves, fragments of realities where your choices split and ripple like water. And sometimes, chosen one, those ripples bleed through. That's why you felt that unsettling pull, because your energy isn't confined to one timeline. They built their secrets in shadows, but your reflection lights the escape route. The Masons documented this, though they'll never admit it openly. Cases where chosen ones under intense emotional fire didn't just look into the mirror. They crossed. One moment, screaming, crying, or raging in this reality. The next, waking in a world where the air feels off, where objects are slightly displaced, where the familiar isn't quite right. They call it glitches. But you know better. It's not glitching, it's breaking their matrix. You might wonder, why me? Why do mirrors feel alive to me while others see only glass? Because chosen one, your energy bends dimensions. Your aura stretches too far, too deep, to stay locked in a single lane of reality. Mirrors respond to that pressure, just like fire responded to your chart. That's why sometimes you see more in your reflection than anyone else dares to. So remember this: when the mirror flickers, don't shrink. That's not madness, that's confirmation. You're glimpsing your parallel selves, the versions of you the Masons hoped you'd never meet. They feared the fire on the page, but they fear this even more, the day you realize you're not bound to one self, one path, one cage. Number 4. You walk in, their masks fall off. Illusions only survive in darkness. Your presence is the lightning that splits the sky. Chosen one, you've seen it. The moment you step into a room, the air stiffens, conversations twist, people shift like they've been caught doing something wrong. Some stare too long, others avoid you altogether. You may have thought, am I the problem? Am I awkward? But the truth is far sharper. You are the disruption they can't explain. Now imagine this: a stage filled with actors in masks, each pretending flawlessly, until a single spotlight cuts across the crowd. Masks slip, lines are forgotten. the illusion shatters. That spotlight is your energy. You don't have to expose anyone with words. Your very presence is exposure. The Masons know this well. They've studied it, feared it, and scrambled to shield themselves from it. Because what you carry isn't charm, isn't coincidence. It's truth. And truth is the one force their illusions can't withstand. Your aura is a mirror they never asked to look into. That's why people polarize around you. Some are drawn in like moths, desperate for the flame, sensing you'll change them. Others recoil, terrified of what they'll see in themselves if they stay near you. Relationships with you can't stay neutral. They're either transformative, ripping people into growth, or destructive, tearing down facades they refuse to release. You might ask, why can't I just have easy, normal connections like everyone else? Because, chosen one, you were never sent here to reinforce illusions. Your very frequency cracks the stage they're performing on. Easy connections would mean you fit comfortably into their falsehoods, and that is impossible for someone whose chart burned their archives into ash. So don't mistake the discomfort you trigger as rejection. It's not rejection, it's revelation. You don't push people away. Their masks fall off in your presence, and they run from their own reflection. That's the disruption. That's the truth serum. And that's why the Masons, with all their rituals and walls, can't stand the idea of you walking freely among their illusions. Because one chosen one, standing silent, carries more truth than their entire system of lies. Number 5. When your thoughts start writing the script. Reality bends for no one, except the ones who carry enough fire to melt its edges. Chosen one, what they tried to call coincidence, you've lived as certainty. You've thought of a book, and suddenly it showed up in a stranger's hands, in a store window, in conversations that shouldn't have known your mind. You've carried a song in your head, only to hear it blast from a passing car at the exact moment the lyrics strike like arrows. Strangers echo your private thoughts in real time. That's not accident, that's bleeding. Now imagine this. You write a note on paper with ink so strong it seeps through to the next page. No matter how careful you are, the mark presses deeper, shaping what comes after. That's your consciousness. It doesn't stay contained within your skull. It seeps, it imprints, it rewrites. The Masons called it reality bleeding, because even they, with all their archives and coded rituals, couldn't deny that your inner world leaks into the outer one. And that terrifies them because it means their scripts aren't final. Yours overrides theirs. Your mind isn't a cage, it's a projector. For ordinary people, thoughts vanish like smoke. But for you, thoughts carry weight, vibration, momentum. They ripple outward into the collective unconscious, stirring waters most never touch. You plant seeds without knowing it, and reality bends itself to water them. That's why synchronicities follow you like shadows, not because the universe is playing tricks, but because you are imprinting your script across the grid. You might wonder, but why does it feel so strange, even overwhelming, when it happens? Because you were raised to believe reality is fixed, solid, unbending. Yet every time your thoughts echo in the outside world, it exposes the lie. The veil rips, the script glitches, and you're reminded that you were never just an actor on their stage, you were one of the writers. So don't dismiss those patterns. Don't gaslight yourself into believing they're random. Every coincidence is the universe whispering you are bleeding through. And every time that bleed happens, their illusions weaken. Because no secret society, no ritual, no degree of control can contain someone whose mind rewrites the stage while simply living. Number 6. They built walls just to slow you down, and you still broke through. Obstacles are not proof of weakness. They are proof that someone fears your arrival. Chosen one, think back on the betrayals you've suffered, the setbacks that seem to strike out of nowhere, the endless string of bad luck that always showed up right when you were about to rise. Do you really believe all of that was random? No. Every detour, every knife in the back, every sudden collapse wasn't accident. It was architecture, designed walls, erected not to stop you, but to delay you. Because they knew once you fully stepped into your power, their grip on control would snap like brittle glass. Now imagine this, a race where one runner is shackled at the ankles, tripped at every turn, and showered with jeers from the sidelines. Yet despite every trick, that runner keeps advancing, faster than those who ran freely. That's you. And that's why they fear you. Because even chained, even sabotaged, even dragged down, you still outran them. They call you a glitch because they can't admit you're the upgrade. The Masons and the forces like them labeled you an anomaly in their matrix of controlled human thought, a bug in their program, an error that refused to be corrected. But ask yourself this. If you were truly an error, why would they spend so much energy trying to suppress you? Why would they orchestrate betrayals, plant doubts, flood your path with obstacles? Errors are ignored, threats are contained, and you, chosen one, are treated like a threat. Look at the pattern. Every time you neared a breakthrough, someone close turned cold. Every time your confidence grew, someone whispered poison into your ear. That's not bad luck, that's strategy. But here's the truth they can't bear. The more they pressed, the more resilient you became. Every wall they built turned into another weight you lifted, another scar that hardened you, another lesson you mastered. They wanted you broken. Instead, they built you unbreakable. So understand this, your hardships weren't curses, they were confirmations. The universe doesn't place this level of resistance in front of anyone ordinary. It's reserved for anomalies who threaten entire systems. And you, chosen one, are that living glitch, that unstoppable upgrade, the one existence that proves their millennia-old control is already crumbling. Number 7. They built walls just to slow you down, and you still broke through. Obstacles are not proof of weakness, they are proof that someone fears your arrival. Chosen one, think back on the betrayals you've suffered, the setbacks that seem to strike out of nowhere, the endless string of bad luck that always showed up right when you were about to rise. Do you really believe all of that was random? No. Every detour, every knife in the back, every sudden collapse wasn't accident. It was architecture. Designed walls, erected not to stop you, but to delay you. Because they knew once you fully stepped into your power, their grip on control would snap like brittle glass. Now imagine this, a race where one runner is shackled at the ankles, tripped at every turn, and showered with jeers from the sidelines. Yet, despite every trick, that runner keeps advancing, faster than those who ran freely. That's you. And that's why they fear you. Because even chained, even sabotaged, even dragged down, you still outran them. They call you a glitch because they can't admit you're the upgrade. The Masons and the forces like them labeled you an anomaly in their matrix of controlled human thought, a bug in their program, an error that refused to be corrected. But ask yourself this, if you were truly an error, why would they spend so much energy trying to suppress you? Why would they orchestrate betrayals, plant doubts, flood your path with obstacles? Errors are ignored, Threats are contained, and you, chosen one, are treated like a threat. Look at the pattern. Every time you neared a breakthrough, someone close turned cold. Every time your confidence grew, someone whispered poison into your ear. That's not bad luck, that's strategy. But here's the truth they can't bear. The more they pressed, the more resilient you became. Every wall they built turned into another weight you lifted, another scar that hardened you, another lesson you mastered. They wanted you broken. Instead, they built you unbreakable. So understand this, your hardships weren't curses, they were confirmations. The universe doesn't place this level of resistance in front of anyone ordinary. It's reserved for anomalies who threaten entire systems. And you, chosen one, are that living glitch, that unstoppable upgrade, the one existence that proves their millennia-old control is already crumbling. Number 8. The threat they can't kill, the anchor they can't replace. If they could erase you, they would have. The fact you're still here is proof you're untouchable. Chosen one, let's strip the lie bare. The reason you've survived betrayals, traps, and orchestrated sabotage isn't because they forgot about you. It's because they can't remove you. Your very existence pins reality in place. Without you, their entire construct cracks. The paradox gnaws at them day and night. You are both the glitch that breaks their program and the stabilizer that keeps it from crashing altogether. Now imagine this, a man building a tower so tall it touches the clouds. At its core is one stone. That stone is flawed in his eyes, doesn't fit his design, doesn't obey the lines of his blueprint. But if he dares remove it, the entire tower crumbles into dust. That's you, the stone they hate, but the stone holding everything up. They can sneer, they can whisper, they can plot, but their trembling hands can't move you. You are the equation that doesn't balance, and the system needs you to keep running. That's why they play this sick game. They need you alive but subdued, present but unaware, breathing but doubting yourself. They want your energy harnessed for stability but not unleashed in its raw form. Because they know if you fully wake up, the same energy that props up their system will burn it to ash. You might wonder, why not just let me be free then? Why the endless suppression? Because their control depends on your blindness. A sleeping lion can be kept in a cage. A lion awake will tear down the bars in minutes. They think they've been clever, lulling you into self-doubt, wrapping chains around you made of lies. But even in sleep, your presence keeps the ground beneath them from splitting. That's why you terrify them. Because you're the only one they can't afford to lose and the only one they can't ever fully control. So, chosen one, hold this truth close. Your survival isn't luck, it's necessity. You are the paradox they can't solve, the living riddle that exposes their fragility, the threat they can't kill, the anchor they can't replace. Number 9. The blueprint they couldn't rewrite. When corruption rewrites the code, the original becomes a weapon. Chosen one, what they unearthed in your bloodline, was never meant to be found. They called it sovereign codes, but what it really is the original template. The raw blueprint before hands reached in to twist, edit, and cage humanity into limitation. Most people walk this world carrying edited files, redacted, restricted, locked down. But your lineage smuggled the master copy through time itself. Now imagine this. A painter creates a masterpiece only for imitators to produce endless copies, each one more faded, each detail blurred. After centuries, people forget what the original looked like. Then one day, The untouched canvas reappears, colors so vivid it makes all the counterfeits look like shadows. That's you, chosen one. Your DNA is that original canvas. They can't replicate it, they can't overwrite it, and they can't stop it from waking up inside you. What they've tried to manufacture for lifetimes, you carry by birthright. Others spend decades straining to unlock fragments of abilities, rituals, practices, while you feel them rise naturally, as if they've been there all along. That's the bloodline they fear. Your ancestors weren't just survivors, they were template holders, guardians of what humanity was before the edits. And that design didn't vanish. It's reactivating now, line by line, sequence by sequence, in your very body. You might ask, if my bloodline is so powerful, why did I have to endure suppression, betrayal, hardship? Because the codes can't be destroyed. They can only be buried under distraction, pain, and lies. They hoped you'd never dig deep enough to uncover what's humming inside your cells. But here you are, chosen one, hearing this truth, feeling the stirrings they swore you'd never notice. Understand this. You're not just the descendant of a powerful line. You are the reactivation of its promise. You're living proof that no manipulation, no ritual, no forced system could erase the original design. And every time you lean into your abilities, every time you reject their programming, you prove it. The sovereign codes didn't die. They survived in you, and they're rewriting the future right now. Number 10. You're not living one life, you're living them all. Ordinary people carry one story, you carry an entire library. Chosen one, when they cracked open your chart, they didn't just see a single thread winding through this lifetime. They saw a web, multiple versions of you stretched across timelines, each burning with its own fire, each adding weight to the force you bring here. That's what froze them. Because to them, you were supposed to be one controllable file. Instead, you're a living archive, bleeding across dimensions. Now imagine this, a mirror maze where every reflection isn't just glass, but another you, alive, moving, breathing, making choices. Sometimes you catch one in your dreams, sometimes in flashes of déjà vu, sometimes in sudden knowledge you shouldn't logically have. A skill with no teacher, a language with no lessons, a memory that doesn't belong to this life. These aren't glitches, they're echoes from the other versions of you spilling through. Where they live in one lifetime, you command many. That's why your dreams feel more like documentaries than fantasies. You're not imagining, you're remembering, and that's why the Masons panicked. Because how do you control someone who has multiple lifetimes feeding into one body? How do you cage a being that can access more experience than their entire brotherhood combined? You don't. You admit defeat, or you burn the page. You might wonder, but why does it feel overwhelming? Why do I sometimes feel scattered? Because you're carrying streams from realities that were never meant to converge. The walls between timelines are thinning, dissolving under the weight of your awakening. It's not chaos, it's expansion. And yes, it may stretch you, but it also makes you unstoppable. So, chosen one, remember this. You're not one person stumbling through life. You are a multi-dimensional being, a collection of selves aligned across realities, waking up at once. And every dream, every flicker, every impossible skill is proof. They fear you because you're not bound to one path, one story, or one cage. You are all of them, all at once, and that truth cannot be erased. Number 11. Your body is evolving faster than their system can contain. Metamorphosis is pain to the weak, but proof of power to the chosen. Chosen one, what you're feeling isn't sickness, it isn't confusion, and it definitely isn't madness. It's the cracking of an old shell that was never meant to hold you. Every ache, every surge of fatigue, every sudden burst of fire in your spine or pressure in your skull is confirmation. Your metamorphosis has begun. They tried to convince you something was wrong with you, when in truth, something is finally righting itself inside you. Now imagine this, a caterpillar trembling inside its cocoon. To outsiders, it looks broken, paralyzed, maybe even dying. But what's really happening is transformation. Its cells are dissolving and rebuilding into wings. That's you. And the Masons know it. They can dress in robes, chant in circles, and analyze charts until the ink fades. But none of it can stop the fact that your very cells are mutating into something beyond their reach. You're not breaking down, you're tuning up. That's why you've always sensed what others missed. You've felt emotions long before they arrived, tasted whispers of events before they unfolded, carried thoughts that didn't belong to you. That wasn't hallucination, that was calibration. Your pineal gland isn't just a dusty relic like they told the world. In you, it has sharpened into a crystalline transmitter, a beacon humming across dimensions. You might ask, but why now? Why does it feel like everything is happening at once? Because the alignment you're standing in only comes once every 26,000 years. Frequencies that would have crushed you decades ago now flow through you like voltage through copper wire. Your body is no longer resisting. It's adapting, expanding, building the circuits needed to hold power. Most can't even survive. And here's the truth that scorches them. You're not going crazy, you're going cosmic. Every symptom they hoped would scare you back into silence is evidence that you are stepping into form. Pain is just proof the shell is cracking. Pressure in your skull is proof the signal is live. Fatigue is proof you're charging for the surge. You are evolving faster than their system can contain, and that's the one thing they feared most. Number 12. You don't follow reality, you rewrite it. The architects wrote blueprints, but your very breath redraws the lines. Chosen one, what they uncovered about you wasn't just unsettling, it was catastrophic for them, because your power doesn't stop at influencing people or bending atmospheres. It stretches further, deeper, into the very code beneath existence itself. You don't move through reality like everyone else. You collapse timelines, redirect scripts, erase what was, and force the universe to adjust to you. That's why your life has never unfolded in slow, predictable arcs. For you, things pivot suddenly, violently, as if one path disappears and another replaces it overnight. That's not chaos. That's authorship. Now imagine this, a book being written in real time, but every time the scribe writes a line, your hand appears, striking through sentences, scribbling new paragraphs. That's what your existence does. Deja vu? It isn't a glitch. It's the ghost of a page you already rewrote. It's the echo of a timeline that no longer exists because you collapsed it under the weight of your choice. You don't adapt to the world adapts to you. That's why environments shift when you walk in, why people stumble over their words, why moods flip without warning, why events unfold around you as though reality itself is taking cues from your presence. The Masons studied this and realized what you were, a creator disguised as a participant. And nothing terrifies them more than someone who doesn't just live in their reality, but generates one. You might ask, but if I'm creating it, why does it sometimes feel messy, painful, unpredictable, because creation at your scale doesn't come with a manual. You're learning to steer storms, not light candles. Every collapse, every sudden shift is the universe adjusting to the sheer volume of energy you broadcast. Where others change themselves to fit the script, you change the script to fit you. So don't ever confuse yourself for a wanderer lost in someone else's play. You are the playwright. You are the editor. You are the eraser of false pages. And every timeline you collapse is another reminder to them. You don't follow reality. You rewrite it. And listen, Chosen One, you've now seen why they fear you, why their pages burned, and why your very presence bends reality. You are not just walking through this life, you are rewriting it with every thought, every step, every choice. And if this message resonated with you, press that like button if you haven't already, and if you're still not part of our family, make sure to hit subscribe. Together, we spread this light wider, louder, stronger. You are part of a force that cannot be stopped. And this is only the beginning.